Everyone, welcome for another episode of the content research writing, and to be specific, this content will serve as a guide on how to write the RRL part of your research proposal or of your thesis proposal if you're college. So without further ado, let us not waste the time. Let's start. Step 1, guide on how to write the RRL part of your research proposal or college thesis proposal. Step 1, identify the research problems or your research questions. Why? Before you begin writing the RRL part of your research proposal or of your thesis proposal, you should have a clear understanding of the research problems or thesis problems that you will tackle upon writing your research proposal. This will help you focus your literature search and will ensure that you will only include the very relevant completed research that you are going to cite in your RRL.
Okay.
For example, let me give you. If your research question or your thesis question is, what are the effects of social media on mental health?
I don't know.
Your literature review should focus on studies that have investigated already the relationship between social media and mental health. So you will look for research papers that have already studied about the relationship of social media and its effect to the mental health of the users of social media. You're clear with that? Remember the step 1, identify your research problems or identify your thesis questions, thesis problems. Step 2 is develop a search strategy. What do you mean? Once you have identified your research questions or your thesis questions that you've indicated before your thesis objectives, you need to develop a search strategy to find relevant literature. This involves identifying the right databases, the right keywords, and the right search terms to use in searching.
I am the one, the way you're
For example, in the case of the research question that I've said in the step 1, you might search for articles in databases such as the following: PubMed, PsycInfo, and Google Scholar.
Nice.
Using keywords such as social media, mental health, depression, anxiety, and stress based on the presented research question or thesis questions I've stated under step 1.
Oh my god! Wow!
Let's move to step 3.
1 hour later.
And the step 3 is conduct your literature search. Using your search strategy, conduct a comprehensive search of the literature to find relevant articles, relevant books, and other relevant sources.
Paano masabi?
Let me give you an example. You might find articles that investigate the relationship between social media use and mental health outcomes to those who are using that certain social media, as well as studies that explore the impact of social media on specific mental health conditions such as depression and anxiety. That's step 3. Now let's move to step 4. Now the step 4 is to evaluate the literatures you have searched or literatures you have now with you. Once you have identified relevant literature, you need to evaluate it to determine its quality and relevance to your research question and of course relative to your research title. Example. You might evaluate the literature based on factors such as study design, sample size, research methodology, and relevance to your research questions and of your research title or thesis title.
Hey, that's pretty good.
That's step 4. Remember, you need to evaluate the literatures you gathered or literatures you searched.
A few moments later.
Step 5 will tell you to organize the literatures you have. Once you have evaluated the literature as stated under step 4, organize it into themes or categories based on key concepts and key findings.
Advance ako mag
Example, you might organize the literature you've searched or you have with you into themes such as the impact of social media on mental health outcomes, the relationship between social media use and depression, and the role of social support on mitigating the negative effects of social media on mental health.
Hindi totoo yan.
Remember, step 5, to organize the literature you have gathered or you have searched prior to writing the RRL part of your thesis or of your research proposal.
12 seconds later.
Step 6 will tell you to write now the RRL of your research paper or of your thesis proposal. Using your organized literature, write a comprehensive review that summarizes the key findings and themes in the literature and relate them to your research question. Damn! Example, to be clear. Your review might summarize the findings of studies that have investigated the impact of social media on mental health outcomes, then discuss the limitations of the existing literature you have with you and you've chosen, and identify areas for future research relative to the completed research you have with you that you are going to indicate in the RRL part of your research proposal or of your college thesis proposal.
One eternity later.
Now, step 7, which is the last step for your guide on how to write the RRL part of your college thesis proposal, the step 7 is revise and edit your written RRL. Finally, revise and edit your review to ensure that it is well written, organized, and free of grammatical errors.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Example, you might revise your review that you have written already to ensure that it's clear and concise, and then the themes and findings that you have written are well organized and you have cited all relevant research sources that you need to indicate in every paragraph of the RRL of your thesis proposal.
Okay.
Never forget any research author in every paragraph that you are going to write in the RRL part of your thesis proposal. Everyone, till the next content that I'll be making relative to thesis writing or research proposal writing. Ciao!